Okay, so it's 12:30 almost, and I start my training with my teachers 2:50. It starts at 3, but I need to be on at 2:50. And I've got this, it's not anxiety or fear, but it's an excitement. And I'm also doing this, my first workshop, and it's a 3-day workshop. We're going to be in Montauk at this house. And I needed a certain amount of payments for people taking beds before I could book it. And so I just got that. Okay, so I've got all this stuff breaking. It's exciting and a little maybe scary, whatever. I have to keep moving. It was like this before I went to my training in Sedona in March. After I got furloughed from United, 303, and 3 days later I went out to Sedona. But I had this same kind of a feeling, like kind of a fear of, it's my egoic fear of losing my image of myself, and this false image, what I think I am. And so a little bit of a death of my ego, like trying to make me not do the workshop, trying to, what if you don't fill all the beds, you're going to lose money again, just like you did on All Calm Down, just like you did on the t-shirts, just like you did on the book. My book, I didn't charge enough. I tried to figure out how much it would be, and I tried to charge people what I thought it cost, but I didn't count for tax and all this stuff. So I pretty much, not trying to create the story of loss, but all this stuff that I do, and my dad was just over here this morning talking about, he painted when we were little. He painted these characters on the basement of this apartment where we lived, and they started to turn the apartments into condos, and so if you wanted to stay, you had to buy your apartment as a condo. But we left instead, and so, my dad was like, they can paint over the characters. And he was telling the story again this morning. This is 1970. I was in kindergarten, so 75, I don't know. And here he is, like, that is how much longer ago it was. So, he's super old, and he's telling this story from 1975, and the real estate agent's like, no, they love it. Everybody who sees it wants to keep it. And he was like all choked up. He's like, I don't know why I get like this. I'm like, because we don't know our value. We really don't know our worth, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I'm not panicking. I'm enjoying this fear, and I'm so excited for this Montauk workshop, and I'm so excited for this training at 3:00. But then there's another part of me that's palpably scared. Like, I can feel it. And it doesn't make sense, but it does. It makes tons of sense, and I can enjoy it. I was so afraid in 2003 before I went to Sedona that I was going to change my name I was going to get weird and change my name to like Grass and get rid of all my shoes. And I love my shoes. I enjoy my shoes. I used to feel really guilty about how much I love shoes. And I'm barefoot like all the time. I'm barefoot all the time. But if I have to wear shoes, I want them to be good. And I want to enjoy them. And so I used to feel really guilty about it. Because I don't think of myself as a consumer. But if you saw my shoes, you'd be like, you're a consumer. Nobody needs that many pairs of flip-flops. Okay, but then I had this experience where I visited one of my future lives. And I'm a man, and I live on a beach, and I live in this hut, and I have 2 all white outfits, and I have a bowl, a plate, and a spoon and a fork and a knife, and people come and they give me food, or they give me stuff just to learn from me. And it's like I know that I'm going to be fine and subsist on this beach, and I don't have really anything. I only have what a person truly needs to survive: shelter, and bowls and everything else comes into me. I don't know where I am or whatever, but I have no material possessions really. And so when I realized, my guides are like, this is coming. So enjoy manifesting now. And so I haven't gotten it yet, but I manifested an old Porsche manual, 1984 manual transmission, 944. I'm so excited about it. So my husband's like, how can you raise your vibration? He's talking my language now. He knows it's like, I'm only going to listen if he talks like me. Anyway, I am ready to change because the pain of staying, it's not painful. I'm so lucky. I'm like the luckiest person alive, but the pain of staying in the bud, it's like the rose blooms because the pain of staying in the bud becomes more than the fear of blossoming. And I really don't feel like I deserve all this good. It's like my dad crying about the characters on the wall in the basement. It's all the same. It's like I have an easy time putting love out to my group. I have to start taking some in. And I have to tell you, how did I get as far as I have gotten? It's like these people. And, I talk about normies and normie groups. And, they're the useful idiots that push the agenda of control by accident. They forgive them, Lord. They don't know what they do, All the groups like Antifa, Black Lives Matter, all the social justice warriors and their toxic virtue signaling, those are useful idiots. All the people are like, yes, make everybody take the injection, make them all, or keep them out of the grocery store. Yes, that's a great plan. Those are all useful idiots. But then you got another normie group called compliant Hopies, and those are the people like, please, just take the shots, just wear the mask so we can get back to normal. Please, just do it so we can get back to normal. Please, because they also don't see the agenda, the military-industrial complex. These people taking the experiment and pushing for total control, forgive them, Lord. They know not what they do. They really don't know that they are assisting and facilitating the military-industrial complex. These people who are just eating the narrative, and then, the most recent one, some heart attacks are good for you. I'm not joking. That's what this article says. Oh, myocarditis isn't even really a thing. It's not even really a problem. And some heart attacks are actually good for you now, experts say. It's like, oh my God, the level of stupidity and the willing ignorance, just for your ego to keep your world intact is I keep saying it's off the charts, and then it keeps going up more. The cognitive dissonance, the confirmation bias, it all points to suffering. So really just, and then the third group of normies is just plain old normies. They're just people who, they're not trying to take anybody's freedom away, but they still watch the news, and they still believe in the news, and they still follow the narrative, and they still line up to get their boosters, and they still will inject their kids. They're not assholes about it, and they're just, loving people who don't see for whatever reason. And those are important relationships. I didn't want to see normies hurt themselves. So I've tried to get out of some of these normie relationships. But they're important. It's important to love each other. It's important just to love each other. Just love each other. Don't hate. you just become what you don't want to be. And everyone who hates, no matter if you know everything, you may know everything, you may be right about everything that there is. You may be like, this version of reality is the one that's 100% true. Because I see about 15 different versions of reality. And I don't need to know which one is right. You know, I'm not going to waste my time in this meat suit trying to figure out which one of the 15 versions of reality is true or correct, right? But even if I could find the one version, and maybe it's not, but let's say the absolute 100% truth is one of the 15 different realities that I've seen people explain. And let's say I could pinpoint that one. If the person telling me all that truth is hateful towards the other 14 versions of reality, well, then they're still working for the dark side. You can't hate your way to a loving world, and you can't fight your way to a peaceful world. You know, and I was happy just to doing my like one-on-one healings quietly in my room. You know, and then I won a house concert with Adam Ezra, and I was sort of helping him set up, and he looked, and he was just doing his thing, and he goes, so what do you do? And I went, and he's like, that's not usually a difficult question for people to answer. And I was like, I know, but like most people who come to that, all the people who've come to me my whole life before that day, they knew what I did. And I didn't tell anybody else what I did. People found my name from other people, and they'd come one at a time, and one person would give me 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 other people, and I would do healings on those people. But as far as anybody in my town knew, as far as anybody else knew, I was normal. So I was afraid to scare this musician off, like he's going to think I'm a weirdo, and now he hasn't even started his little concert, and it's booked, and all these people are coming. And I didn't want to deal with if he's like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, you heal. Okay, nice. I was like, oh my God. So I said, have you heard of Reiki? He's like, I don't remember what he said, because I was like shell-shocked, because I didn't want to be in that conversation. Anyway, he ended up saying, well, if we have time, maybe you can show me. And I was like, okay. I didn't really want to, because he didn't come like a normal client where I could just hit the ground running or whatever. And I really wanted to shower before people started coming to my house. But anyway, I had like 15 minutes. And, you just never know, like you never know what circumstances or relationships or situations are going to pull you out of your comfort zone. You can't see it coming. But if you saw it coming, you would stop it. And your ego would, if you could see the situations and relationships that are going to change you, your ego would stop it. It wouldn't let those. And then when your ego does see the relationships and the situations that are going to change you, it tries to scare you off from all of them. And that's just been like over and over and over. In 2011, I had a tumor on my thyroid. Oh my God, it took forever to heal it. It took forever. It was exhausting to get rid of it with the energy work. And so I said, all right. And my blood work kept showing that's going to come back, because I hadn't changed the blood work. I just removed the tumor, but it was going to keep growing back if I didn't do the major shifts underneath to set the energy from my body holding another tumor and another tumor. It's just like too tiring even. Anyway, I said, what do I have to do to keep this healed? I said, you have to speak, you have to talk, you have to teach, can't keep hiding. Anyway, it might not look like it, but I'm enjoying this because I know that I'm not going to be this person tomorrow. I'm going to be different tomorrow, and I know it's going to be better, but I'm still scared. I'm going to book an expensive beach house as soon as I finish this video. And then I have to do 103 bows before 2:45. Just like March 3rd, 2003, I knew I was going to be different. I knew I was going to come home different. And I didn't have my car broke down, so I had no way to get rid of my garbage. And I didn't want to, I was going to Sedona for 3 weeks, then Kansas City for a week right after. I was like, I can't leave my garbage. I'll get rats. So the lady at the post office said, well, you can bring your garbage down here right before 4. It's totally illegal, but, you can put it in the dumpster. So I said, all right. So I had to carry 3 bags of trash. I had to carry 3 bags of garbage on a snowy road for 3 miles to get to the post office. It was my best option. And I was so grateful because my road was flat. I didn't have to walk uphill. And I was grateful because the snow made it so I could slide the bags a little here and there as long as I didn't do it too much. And my angel said, going to Sedona is going to be just like this trip to the post office. He said, you're going to Sedona with bags of garbage that you haul around in your body and your mind. And when you come back, you're going to be lighter. You're still going to be you. You're not going to change your name to Grass, probably, You always have the choice to keep your shoes, enjoy your shoes, whatever. And you just might not enjoy them anymore, or you might enjoy them more. But don't worry about any of that. Just the decision's made. You've already paid $10,000 for this trip. You already knew clearly that you had to do it. And I have to do this Montauk thing because it's driving me crazy not to. It's driving me crazy not to do this thing, and I see myself. And every Reiki class I teach, half of the workshops I have, or the channeling events, I always hear myself in my head. Sometimes I say it out loud. I say, I wish I had more time. I wish I had more time to teach these people. I just want to teach them, everything that I know. And for a long time, I was like, oh, let me just hurry up and teach everything I know, and then I could go back to, my room by myself. I can just go back to being by myself. Anyway, I'm enjoying my last hours of being this level of douche. I'm enjoying my last little bit of time as whatever I am now, whatever baggage I have now. I love the hoarding examples. Like, I have so much compassion for those hoarders, the people on that show, hoarders. But we're all hoarders. Our ego makes us hoarders. We hoard negative stories of bad things that have happened. We hoard stories and images of what we think we are, who we think we are. We hoard stories of who's bad and who's good. We physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, we hoard. We all do, except Neem Karoli Baba, maybe. Quinn, AJ, all the group's guides. They're not hoarders. That's why it feels so good to listen to them talk. Tomorrow, Ellen and JR may come over and we start channeling the book with Quinn and the other guides. They're just gonna, they want JR and Ellen, and I'll record it, and Marsha hopefully will type it. Be nice to have that ready for March, but so March 21st, we're going to go out, and then March 22nd is the first day of spring. That's the first day. I'm going to just whip these motherfuckers into shape. But yeah, the book is going to be channeled, and And then as the information comes through me, they're gonna see how it lands in JR's mind and Ellen's mind, and then offer clarifications. And I said, you guys can ask questions. And JR is like, I'm probably not gonna ask any questions. And I was like, I know you're not. You're not gonna ask any questions. He never does. But just seeing how the information as it comes through me lands in his mind is gonna be enough for the guides to give more information. But they really, the more serious guides, there's guides for our group that they want their information just out there, and they don't mind me doing YouTube videos or whatever, but YouTube won't let me upload anymore. I think I talked about some things that are verboten. Anyway, you just gotta love everyone all the time. People who are so afraid that they're going to inject an experiment into their children that cannot die. There's no way. The 138 children that died in 2020, 2021, before they all had comorbidities. How scared does a person have to be? But if you're scared about what those parents are doing, I literally saw the boy, 11 years old, woke up with the stuff on his heart and said, he woke up after, he finally is eating. He woke up after, 4 days after having a heart attack. Thank God he was vaccinated. This 11-year-old, they're saying, thank God he was vaccinated in a hospital full of sick people. So they're making heart attacks in 11-year-olds. Completely normal, and thinking it has nothing to do with the experiment, even though it's out there, it's all over. But if you get afraid of what these people are doing, then you're in a fear mode. And the people who have enough sense to fucking put the pieces together the way they go together, you can't be afraid right now. Or the people who are so afraid that they're gonna put that shit in their kids and then say crap like, thank God he's that. If you're one of the people that still has some common sense left, like a shred of common sense, just don't hate. Just love and be grateful that you have common sense, because it's not common anymore. And try not to call anybody stupid. It's just brainwashing. It's been in the works for so long. It's the Rockefeller lockstep document. People who think Rockefellers are, philanthropic are still not putting it together. Oh, Bill Gates, philanthropic, so philanthropic. But you gotta love everybody all the time. And I gotta do whatever I'm gonna do to move up. But anyway, it helps me to move forward when I'm in this frame of mind, and I got to go book the beach house and do my bows before 3. But I love y'all. Thanks for listening. Just love everybody all the time. Don't be afraid of the normies, the compliant hopies, and the useful idiots. Don't be afraid of the dark. Don't be afraid of the paper tigers. Just think about that cheesy fucking panther thing that Katy Perry came in on the, during that Super Bowl show. Just think about that fucking, that event where they had the fucking, they were opening some, it was the opening for some tunnel or something. They were like dancing around, it's demonic stuff. Think about the opening for that Olympics where they had the fucking hospital scene and the creepy baby and the kids jumping on the beds and the nurse. Fuck those people, but just in the nicest possible way. It's so ridiculous. Don't be afraid. Just be light. Just be light. Feel the power of the light. You make your choice in the light, but other people made their choice in the dark. So be it. But don't be afraid of them. The smallest match beats the dark every time. Just be light. All right, and I love you. Thanks for listening. See you.